What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. We've got some Seattle Seahawks news on deck here. No, it's not necessarily injury related. I know that everybody wants to know what's going on with Big Cat, what's going on with Mafe, what's going on with Murphy, maybe a little bit of Baker. We don't really have meaningful updates on any of those guys yet. I feel good that most of them will be back for the next game, but we got nothing official yet from the team. I wouldn't really expect anything until tomorrow, so nothing like that. But we do have some interesting news here nevertheless because the Seahawks have made a signing, and on the surface level it seems pretty minor, and I will grant you it could certainly end up being not a whole heck of a lot to actually come of this. There may not be a heck of a lot that comes out of this signing, but nevertheless, this is still interesting. The Seattle Seahawks have signed 9-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle Jason Peters. Yes, Jason Peters, who spent a good chunk of the season last year with the Seahawks, is back. He is back in the NFL after nominally retiring. We got him back. So Jason Peters, one of the great offensive linemen of his era, I believe a future Hall of Famer. He comes back, presumably to help out at right tackle. I think that it's important to note that this is almost certainly an emergency option behind Forsyth. Because when you think about it, Abe Lucas is out, George Fant is out, and they're both probably going to be out for a little while here. Stone Forsyth, you don't really have anybody behind him, right? The guy you have behind him would be McClendon Curtis, and McClendon Curtis isn't really a tackle. At least Jason Peters is kind of a tackle. Obviously, he's not really something you want to put out there, but it's probably going to be a little bit better than McClendon Curtis. At least he's familiar with the position. Now, it is worth noting that Peters has played a little bit of guard in his career. I don't think we're bringing him in here to play guard, though. I don't think that he's going to supplant Tomlinson or Haynes or Bradford or any of that. I think he's here to back up Forsyth. Now, it is worth noting also that he signed with the practice squad. He's not yet with the team. If we need to, we will elevate him a couple times, and then maybe at some point we end up signing him for the full year. But if you were going to make some kind of a move here, I guess this is the one that makes sense, right? He's got a little bit of familiarity with these players, a little bit of familiarity with this team, although none with the coaching staff, really, because all the coaches are new. And while it's cool to have a long-time NFL great like Jason Peters, and it is kind of cool to have a player who is going to turn 43 years old before the Super Bowl this year, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. This is a very limited player at this point. Last year, he gave us some reps, and he wasn't atrocious, but he was more bad than good, which is what you would expect, right? I mean, you take a look at these player grades. Let's take PFF at face value here, which I'm not necessarily saying you should always do, but this paints a pretty clear picture here. He can still run block. He's still got that old man strength, but realistically, pass blocking for a 42-year-old man on the edge against 5 techs and edge rushers, some of the best, that's not going to happen. So if you're expecting Jason Peters to come in here and take Stone Forsyth's job and just slide in neatly at right tackle and become the starter until we get Lucas or Fant back, I seriously doubt that's the plan. And honestly, I hope it's not the plan because it's a bad plan. All right. Nevertheless, we needed a backup. This is probably about as good as we could do. Remember, we don't have a lot of money either. So hopefully that is some emergency glass that never needs to get broken. But if it needs to get broken, you could do worse than Peters. All right. We got plenty more videos to come out later today, but I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for now. That is the latest and greatest news from the Seahawks. Welcome back, Jason Peters. Honestly, I hope you don't have to play, but if you do have to play, I hope you play well. And it's kind of cool to have you around because he is one of the legends of the position over the last several years, over the last really couple of decades, I think. Hard to beat Jason Peters. Cool to have him around. If nothing else comes of this, maybe some of our players, younger players on the roster, learn something from Peters, having him around. Something to be said for that.